Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kenda Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward moving spouse. Her bomb drop is July 7th of 2021. Her date of marriage is 1995. She has a clinging boomerang who is a high energy replayer. She says, I'm currently trying to detach. I didn't know everything that was going on was a midlife crisis. I only learned about it about a month ago. So it's been 18 months since bomb drop. And I've been a doormat for the whole time, and now I want to set boundaries. Good for you. And don't worry about not having figured out MLC. Some people figure it out quickly, but some people figure it out 18 months on. So you just start now, okay? One of the boundaries I want to set is that while he's living or continuing the affair, living with her or continuing it, with the alienator, then the benefits of our finances stay with me. He has lived with the alienator off and on for 2 years now. He has come home 4 to 5 times, but for no longer than 2.5 weeks each time. He's been using our joint checking account to support the alienator. He has not contributed to our accounts, so none of the money is his. I still pay everything, including his truck, cell phone, and insurance, etc. He doesn't have a job, and I don't want to leave him with nothing, but I don't want to support them financially either. I don't mind supporting him financially, but supporting her is too much. Surely this is not unreasonable. Oh, it's definitely not unreasonable. In fact, I would even want to change your mindset a little bit on saying I don't mind supporting him financially. There's a level of financial support. I would go toward what is owed for your time together, which is a long time. So consider that if you were divorced and you would be paying alimony. You don't need to go beyond that in financially supporting him, because let's say there was not an alienator and you said, okay, I'll financially support him. Are you going to enable his crisis? So yes, this is an absolute boundary you should be setting. So how do you set it? You might have some complications. For one, you've set a precedent for the last 1.5 years that you've been supporting him, even when he is not at home being an appropriate husband. So you can have the discussion with him, and you should say, you know what, I'm cutting you off. But how do you cut him off of the joint account? So there's a few things you could do. And there are some things you may not be allowed to do. You may not be allowed to close the account. You might be, but that might be something that you're not allowed to do without his signature on it. And you could talk to him and say, you know what, we need to close this account. And he could demonstrate you and all that, but you could still go that route just as part of the boundary setting and see how far you get on that one. You need to open another account. Only you are on it. And so he has no access to it. And you need to remove the funds from that account. And you need to stop all incoming funds that go into that account automatically. Unless there are things that he puts in, which you've said he doesn't. So if your check electronically goes into there, you need to change that. You need to open something that is for you only. Now, in the event of a divorce, does that protect you? It might not. It might not. He might still be able to get 50% of it. I don't know, because he's been out. Does it change because he comes home? You might want to get a separation agreement. And that might not be where you want to go because, well, I don't want a divorce, and that might lead us to divorce, or in some states or some places, you can't actually do that. It's just divorce. Consider, though, find out whether you can get a separation agreement so that you are cutting him off financially. And in such an agreement, you might be legally required to support up to a level. But that wouldn't mean he had open access to the accounts. That would mean you would give him a certain amount each month, perhaps. I would like it if you would find out what those avenues are, because this is an absolute boundary you should be setting. But think about the things you can do with that boundary. You can make it a legal boundary, a boundary that has the strength of the law behind it, perhaps. You can try discussing it with him, but what's he going to do? And he's a clinging boomerang, so you might have some success. I wouldn't count on it, though. You don't need to pay his truck. You don't need to pay his cell phone. What I would pay for? His medical insurance. Yeah. If he has his truck and you stop paying the bill? Do you keep paying the insurance on the truck? You might want to also look at the ramifications for if you stop paying certain things like that. Because he needs to figure out how to take care of himself, doesn't he? Because supposing you're divorced, what's he going to do then? He needs to be able to figure out how to financially support himself. No, it's not unreasonable. What's unreasonable is the situation you're in now. It's completely unreasonable. We expect some level of support from our spouses, even after a divorce, if we have been with them for as long as you have been together. You've been together for almost 30 years. 27 years. 25 at bomb drop. 26. But you've been together for that amount of time. And usually we have the role reversal, where it's the man who's earning more of the income. So let's say he's been a stay-at-home spouse, caring for children while you are working. Then, yeah, you would owe him for some of those things. And he has come to expect a certain level of lifestyle. And that might be included in some forms of alimony. But at the same time, typically we don't completely cover everything unless there are specific needs, such as this person is disabled. So I want you to find out what your rights are, what you can do. This is a good boundary, but you have to be careful when it comes to finances. What would happen if you closed that account or if you remove the funds from it? Can he have some legal empowerment to do something against you? Maybe the answer is no, but I want you to cover your bases. Talk to a lawyer first. That's my advice, because no, you are not being unreasonable. In fact, I think you've been more, like you said, you were being a doormat, and you didn't know what was going on. He needs these boundaries. He's not going to like them. I want you to prepare for him to fight back. I want you also to consider that part of his fighting back could be, well, no, I'm not coming home anymore, because he came home for 2.5 weeks on a few occasions. And he might threaten you. Well, you wanted to reconcile. You're ruining it now. Those are the threats I got. I said, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's too bad. And, well, you just hate me. No, I haven't said that. I haven't done it. I stayed calm. But if you can get some legal backing first, because let's say you do something, but it turns out legally you weren't supposed to. You couldn't do that. Suddenly, you've given Monster a lot more power. Now Monster could do all sorts of other things and try more things. And it could work against you. So I want you to find out what you can do legally. Also, some of them, it doesn't matter what you can do legally, they'll allow it. So I probably wasn't allowed technically to change the locks on my doors without at least giving him access keys. But I did it because I knew he wasn't going to do anything about it. I knew Chuck was not going to go to the authorities and say that I had locked him out and force me to let him in. So I had been given the power by Chuck. Finances are a big deal, so I want you to cover your bases. I would think that opening a new account, you could keep that account, but I want the money that's coming in changed out of there. If you don't have a super lot in there and you want to leave some of it in, go ahead, and then he'll just pilfer it down. But find out what you can do, okay? I hope this is helpful, and I'll see everybody else in the next recording.